this counts as a delay.
Hello. Where am I? Okay, whatever. I don't care. Hello. Welcome to this. Welcome aboard, travelers. I don't even remember my fucking intro. I'm alternatively you're the star inhabiting the abandoned space station, and we're drawing today. Problem. My shit's not working. How do I add pens to the device? Why is it not working? It's not working. It is not working. Okay. I literally just updated the drive so that it would work.
We're having some minor difficulties.
You're literally not a why are you not working? This is amazing. Isn't this riveting content? Like, hello? Why is the pen not working? Hold on, let me Google. I don't even want to like start like yapping about Nostero things in case we have to like you know, end stream and just move this to another day. Pen not working. Everything is about the generation 2 of my fucking pen, and I don't of my fucking display tablet.
Just like, I'm gonna kill my...
I'm like crawling under my desk to like recheck that all the cables are like properly connected. This is the type of state we're in right now.
Not a good sign to be empty.
But what are you watching?
That was literally just an ad for HSR, okay? It was Cypher.
Oh my god, I don't recognize her voice because I'm not... it's not working! That's...
I do like her English voice. Anyways, is everything okay over there?
No, it's not. It's not working. XP Pen, my beloved, why are you doing... Why are you doing this on the night of my daughter's wedding? You come to me on the night of my daughter's wedding and you do this shit to me. This is fucking great. I literally tout you all around. I literally I'm your #1 fan. I love you so much. And this is how you treat me. Okay, we're connecting. Hold on. Are we working? We're working!
Let's go!
I just had to disconnect the tablet and connect it again. We're like 5 minutes into the stream and we haven't done shit because everything's not working. Oh yeah, my character. There we go. Okay, we're alive now. We work now.
Yay!
Isn't that so cool? Anyways, right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I literally haven't even like pulled up my music to listen to while I'm streaming. I'm so excited. Need You Dakota, like, new music is out and I'm so excited. It's so fire. I'm so happy. Anyways, Hi. It's like, hi.
We're having a normal one.
No, okay. For context, before we start yapping about Novastera stuff, so the XP pansing wasn't up to date, as we can see by everything not working. So I had to update it like right before stream started, right? Like 5 minutes before stream started. And as I'm updating it, and it tells me, okay, you need to like restart your computer. I'm like, okay, let me restart your computer. And I get a little pop-up on my screen that says that my CPU is at like 75 degrees Celsius. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not a good temperature. Like, I'm like, call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure that's not a good temperature. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not a good temperature.
Like, I've heard computers aren't supposed to get that hot.
Yeah, so... Okay, I need to... Hold on. Because since I have to reinstall stuff, I lost all of my regular controls. I want this to be... Okay. This... Shit. Okay. 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 Okay, I need to figure out... Okay, one last thing before we start actually doing stuff like we're supposed to. I want... Okay, are we good now? Okay, we soon with this. Okay, why is my rotation thing not working? Hold on. Anyways, while I'm fixing this, let me actually talk about what we're doing. So, we are going to be talking about Novastera and related content, which is for, which, you know, Novastera is... I'm sorry, I'm reading stuff. Can you explain Novastera?
So Novastera started off as a little sandbox world for us to do just literally whatever with, but we eventually got the idea to make it into something for other people to, you know, read and consume. At first it was going to be a comic, and then at some point I think we had the idea for it to be a novel, and now we plan for it to be a visual novel.
Yeah.
Canon follows the adventures of this duo, which is like a detective and his apprentice, and they just go around solving little cases, except they're not little cases, and most of their cases are connected to a cult that was that caused a lot of pain in the detective's past.
Yeah. I still haven't figured out the rotation thing, man. I used to have it. And I can't find the fucking shortcut for it anymore. Oh my god. Why are you telling me about Windows? I want for Clip Studio. Are you stupid? But yeah, it's like... Okay, there it is. Does this work now? Why is...
It's gonna be okay.
I'm so serious. Why is it not working? Maybe if I do... No. There we go. Okay, I just had to do it in the opposite direction. Okay, now does it let me rotate? It lets me rotate. We're back. Okay, we're so back.
Let's go.
Okay. Yes, there we go. Okay, so what am I doing today? Today I'm starting off with the Lavender Talent, like, OC making challenge, like the Pause OC challenge that she posted. You know, because I thought that, like, if we're going to be doing that, we should also... we should, like, maybe make an OC on stream and we can talk about OC making as well. So, like, the biggest, like, thing for reference, I think, to keep in mind, right, is the fact that, like, with Novus Terra being so big, it has allowed us to be pretty, like, versatile in the stuff that we do. Right? Like, we're pretty much, like, allowed to just kind of fuck around and do whatever. And,
yeah, like, I mean, Novus Terra was created with the intention of just doing whatever, so we just do whatever.
yeah. And despite that, like, Novus Terra has, like, a very, like, clear, like, world building basis. And I think that's just the TISM in a way. But also just, like, I've been, like, creating worlds for, like, a very long time. I have, like, a ton of worlds that, like, I haven't, like, discussed much of, right? Because they're, like, worlds that I just vibe with. Like, I just make stuff because I wanna with it, right? So it has led to just making worlds just to make them a lot. But it's also led to just being aware of a lot of different, like, world building aspects, basically, right? But not just that, but also just a lot of experimentation when it comes to, like, creating characters, right? And not just, like, creating characters, but also being consistent with the creation of characters. Because something I really like is making original species. And, like,
Same.
Novus Terra, generally speaking, every single species is original, you can argue, right?
Because even with, like, the species that are clearly taken from, like, other fantasy, like, classics, there's still, like, our own spin on it, for sure.
Like, especially, and I think a big part of that is the magic system in this world. So, in this world, there's, like, two different, and I'm saying world, technically, Novus Terra is actually a planet in this world. Not a planet, a country. Let me speak words that are proper. It's actually, like, not a... Like, it's not its own planet. It's a country inside of a planet. And because of that, we've played both very, like, loose with the magic system, right? But also very, like, harsh with it. Like, it's a pretty solid magic system. Like, it's a very, like, this is how it works. And there's no, like, there's not a soft magic system, you know? But at the same time, due to it being, like, the way the magic system works, and it being related to Novus Terra specifically, it also means that we've been able to be very soft with other aspects of the magic system. Can the people outside driving not drive that fucking loud? I'm so serious. I'm talking here. But it's basically like a case of we have like, let's see, like I've been referring to it as like inherent magic and god magic, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because like basically what it is in Novus Terra we have the Novus Terran like pantheon, right? And the way it works is that the gods of Novus Terra like are physical. They exist physically and they interact physically with the world for both for good or bad. Panoka, I am looking at you. I mean, who's that? I didn't say anything. But it's like in that same way, right? Due to that, praying to a god, dedicating yourself to a specific god, actually like assists someone, right? It's basically what I mean was that is, let's take like Sidus, because that's my blurbo. And that's a god that we are going to be seeing a lot of when it comes to the main series of visual novels, like Anchor of Silence, that I'm working on for like next year, hopefully, right? That's because the main character is a follower of Sidus, and that is a relevant part of the aspect. So Sidus is the god of knowledge, right? And what that means for the followers is that if you follow Sidus and like you dedicate yourself as like a devotee to Sidus, you as a devotee of the god of knowledge start to gain that aspect of him, right? Like you basically start to gain the ability to be like more knowledgeable in the like simplest term, right? In the like most boring way to phrase it terms. But like it is like, and like obviously the more you dedicate yourself, aka if you become an active member of, to use a term to be understood, like church, right? Like if you become an active member of a god's church as like a full-on like practitioner, right? Like prayer and stuff like that, the power that you gain from the god is stronger depending on how devoted you are to the god. And for example, we have a character, Mouse, right? Who is the like head of the, so to speak, church of Sidus. Due to this, he is omniscient. He is full-on omniscient. The issue here is that those that become like the head of a god, they become like essentially the mortal form of the god, so to speak, right? Which means with Sidus's case, as the god of knowledge, while Mouse is omniscient, if there is ever something that hasn't been known before, like it's unknown or can't be known, Mouse cannot perceive that, like period. Like you could show him something that has never been known before, you don't know what it is, and it will look like nothing to Mouse, like because Mouse cannot process that. He's incapable of like learning new things, so to speak. Like if it's not something that has been known to any degree, he cannot know it. It has to be known for him to be able to know about it. Like, and like sure, like if it's something that like is like newly discovered, right, it can be brought to Mouse and he can tell you everything about it immediately, even though it's been newly discovered, but it has to be discovered. And like there's like and like a big thing with this, and like it started as an accident and we just kind of ran with it, is that there's a big thing here with like gods being paired in threes. Well, paired isn't the right word, but like you know what I mean, right? Like the main three, like the main gods are like the trio, right? The triple.
And they are the first gods created by the godmother who introduced the phenomenon of godhood to the world, to the general world of Novus Terra.
Yeah. And that is Daira, Voyan, and Auton, aka the god of End, the goddess of the void, and the god of fate. Oda and my fucking Pookie.
My fucking Pookie, you're the one who made him go through all that terrible shit.
Okay, but he is literally living his best life now, so like literally shut up. Also, you say this. Do I need to bring up Lillian? Do I need to bring up the fact that I had to fight you and not killing Lillian when we first made her?
Hey, the original plan was for her to be dead. I just thought like we were gonna stick to that.
Yeah, well, we didn't, because I got attached and I love her. She's my silly. I love her so much. She shows up. She's gonna show up in one of the games.
Yeah, and she's gonna be very cute.
Daisy and her, and when Daisy and her weakness of pretty women. I mean, I get it though. So true, girl. Live your best life.
Yeah.
You are, however, like 15. Please chill out.
You are 15 and like nearly under 4 foot. Please calm down.
Like, she is tiny and she is little. She's just a baby. Please chill the fuck out.
And
You
her
are-
being tiny is not because of her age specifically. It's because she is a rusty spotted cat and she's very small.
Yeah. But yeah, like going on like the god sing, right? It's that, and like going on the trio sing, there are certain gods that are considered like to go together. And like for example, like going of Sidus, right? Him and his siblings are considered like a trio, and therefore like often due to that, like they get like paired because of that, right? And because of that, right, we have the case of like worshipping, so to speak, together, but like not necessarily dedicating yourself to all three. Because again, dedicating yourself to a god gives you like the god's blessing, gives you power, and due to that, it's seen as pretty taboo to like put like full dedication to like multiple gods. And I mean, and depending on the god, like the god might just smite you for doing that. I'm looking at you, Amaryllis. Like Amaryllis will just straight up smite you if you try to dedicate yourself to him and like someone else. Doesn't matter who it is.
Now.
Oh, hi, baby, me. But yeah, but still, despite that, like if you are, for example, like Sidus, like Resi and Pinoca, right? They're siblings, so they often get paired, like they get put together as like three that go together, right? Like they work together, so to speak, right?
At least they would have, if not for one of them being a shit.
Yeah. But because of that, right? It's like there's to a certain degree you're kind of allowed to worship them like together, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you get to a point of like dedicating yourself, you're allowed to then like choose more freely who you wish to like dedicate yourself to.
No, don't lay down on my phone. Oh, okay.
And that's like pretty common when it comes to triples of like, because that having like prayed to those three gods or those two gods, however many of the trio you've like prayed to, right? It does mean that then you do have a degree of the other gods like blessings, not to the same degree as someone who dedicates themselves, right? But you do get it to a certain degree, like for example, if you dedicate yourself to Sidus and Resi, right? And then you decide that you're gonna like dedicate yourself fully to Resi, you still get a slight boost to your like knowledge abilities. Like you might be able to learn things faster because you did like spend a good chunk of time just like being like a follower of Sidus. Also, when I speak about Cyrus, I have to be so careful. I have to be like, I'm like being so careful because,
Mhm.
like I say, Cyrus does appear, but he does not appear as Cyrus in the games. And I'm trying, and I'm
That's a-
like, and I'm used to like talking about him with his other name, so I'm like actively trying to like not slip up.
like, and that's another thing. One thing you'll kind of forget, because the main characters of this media interact with the gods so freely for whatever reason, is that the average mortal in the Novus Terra world is not aware of the gods' presence within society.
Yeah, like it's a sort of like, it's more like a myth. Like there's like people who fully believe that the gods walk amongst them, right? But at the same time, there's people that like you tell them, hey, the gods walk amongst us, and they're gonna look at you like you're fucking insane. Because it's like, why the fuck would the gods walk amongst us? I mean, like, I mean, you're that's fair. And like, it's not a
Like,
case of like
I guess
people
the
don't
gods
believe.
have
Yeah, it's like it's not a case of like people don't believe that the gods aren't physically real. Because I mean, the divine war happened. Everyone saw that. Everyone experienced that shit. But yeah,
everyone saw the gods scrapping in 2K a couple centuries ago.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, the gods exist. Like everyone's aware of that. No one's denying that. It's more so just that fact of like, why the fuck would the gods be like here?
Like they sort of impose a sense of superiority onto the gods that they just kind of don't really have.
Yeah, and in that same way, that also affects um certain gods more so than others. Like there's certain gods that are like labeled as being the god of one thing when in reality they're the god of something else. Like, have you named that guy yet?
I decided to go with Merlin.
Okay. So for example, Merlin, he's still a little bit new, so we're not gonna be talking too much about him. But because of his entire deal, right? People like started like labeling him as like the god of victory and loss, like losses and like losing, right? And that's just because that was an assumption that like people made and they just imposed that title on him. In reality, he's the god of trickery. Which I mean, ironically, bits that people think that he's something that he's not. Like, I'm sure he's not that bothered about it, but like, there's like several gods that like get mislabeled like that, or there's like certain concepts that get mislabeled to belonging to a god that either doesn't exist or doesn't actually overlook that concept, because like the gods, like again, they interact with mortals, but they don't interact with them like, hey, by the way, I'm a god. It's more so a case of like, I'm going to be interacting and that's kind of it. I mean, the funniest one is Aggie though, because he literally tells people like, I'm literally the god Aggie. Like, he doesn't hide the fact that he is the god Aggie. And people are still like, yeah, we know you're like the mortal representation of Aggie. Like, you're the head of the thing. And he's like, no, I'm literally him. Pointing at a picture of himself, pointing at himself, literally the same fucking face on the canvas. And he's like, I am him. And they're like, wow, you look so similar. He's like, oh my god. Like
it's like Clark Kent putting on the glasses. It's pretty easy for a god to hide when everyone is so deeply sure that they never interact face to face with a god in their life.
And it's really funny because it's like, there's like literally one god who's a full-on streamer. And that's like his church basically. And like, I mean, to be fair, he does hide the fact that he's a god, but he doesn't like use like a mortal name. He uses like his god name, and people just think that, wow, your parents are so devoted to that god they named you after him, because that is something that happens, right? Like people like
And
name
he's
their
like,
kid.
haha, yeah.
He's like, yeah. Anyways, make sure to send in the bits as your prayer for today. Like, please do a hype train for the prayer of the day. Thanks, guys. He's honestly the funniest bitch in this entire thing, actually, if you think about it. Like, bro literally is just a streamer. What was he the god of? I know he's the god of something actually relevant, but I don't remember.
Passion.
Oh yeah, he's the god of that, yeah. Speaking of gods and stuff that they do and like funny shit, there's certain gods that we've gotten used to calling them by like their mortal name because of their relevance in the like mortal aspect of stuff. That like if I speak of them, I need to make sure I use their like actual god name and not their mortal name, unless they're like not really relevant to like the main story, in which case I don't care. But like for example, there is like Nis, the god of choices, that like he's the relevant character.
Very relevant.
In the main story. So I'm like, but we generally only refer to him in his like mortal name. So I'm like,
Also, I was supposed to be teaching myself Blender, but this cat is distracting me because I've just been cuddling him.
oh. But yeah, like that's the main stuff I think was the gods, right? Is there more to discuss when it comes to like the gods specifically?
Well, one thing that you'll notice is that wherever the gods appear, if you notice them, it'll usually be out of positions of political power, and this is intentional by the gods themselves. Once again, because of that one god who's kind of a shit.
Yeah. Who, I mean, like, we're being quiet about it, but like, you learn about it in like the first game. Like, you learn about it in Core of Silence, because like it's kind of like, you know, very relevant, but like we're keeping it secret so that people like are like, ooh, like what are we talking about? Let's play the game. This is called marketing.
Like, you gotta have a hook.
This is called marketing.
This is called marketing.
This is so fun. I literally did business econ for 3 years, and I'm like, yeah. Okay, off topic. Business econ is so funny. You know how there's that one meme, right? That's like, you'll walk past a business class and you'll literally see like people be like, demand minus supply equals whatever, right? And you'll see people like writing that shit down like their life depends on it. But like, it's not wrong. But the funniest part is that being in business econ led to me having to do like a segment in HR stuff, right? And I kid you not, I am being dead fucking serious. When doing the HR stuff, it was like things to keep in mind with your workers, right? To make sure they're efficient workers. And the points were like, genuinely, I kid you not, it's like, remember that they're humans and they deserve breaks and they deserve to be paid well. And me looking around watching people write that shit down, I was like, I can't do econ for my rest of my life. I have to change degrees. I can't go into economics anymore. I can't do this shit, man. It's the fact I only went into economics because I wanted to do like game theory, because that's the only thing I really like about economics. I like the aspect of game theory because it's really fun. I won't go into an entire thing about game theory though, because like that's not the point of this stream. But also, I didn't say this character is actually going to be an OC in Noistera. And that actually kind of segues well into the aspect of like character designing for Novus Terra as a world that is meant to be like flexible as shit, right? There's like certain aspects with characters that are meant to be kept as like, if a character has it, this character must be related to this or that, right? In this case, since this character has wing ears, they have to be a descendant of the drakes, because all characters that have wing ears are descendants of the drakes. If they have wing ears, they are a direct descendant of the drakes, and then like the higher the wings are on the head, they're like the farther away the descendancy is, like the heritages of the drakes, right? Like we have like NOC that I've drawn in the past and I've posted about them in the past, Akira, right? And she has like head wings, and that's because she does have like distant relative, like distant heritage of the drakes, but again, it's distance, so she doesn't have like you know, he doesn't have the wings on the ears because it's not like his parent is a drake. It's just that some relative in the past was a drake. Someone fucked a drake in the past. Other aspects about that is that there's like beast people, like for example Daisy, aka, you know, furry, just to make words simple for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Or if you will, an anthropomorphic cat.
Yeah, but like I'm talking like anthropomorphic cats, dogs, etc., animals, right?
Yeah.
And they do have a name. They're called like, well, the stand-in for now. This will probably change once I like actually want to label this species. Is they're named Beastians for now, right? And they're a descendant of the Libitina beast. Libitina is where the spirits of the dead reside, so to speak. Right? But if you see a character having like, for example, just like just being a Kemomimi, right? Like the cat ears, cattail. They're not a Beastian, and they're not a descendant of a Beastian or anything like that. They are instead a heart-hosted child. Do you want to explain the heart-hosting thing?
Cracks knuckles. So like we have two different kinds of quote-unquote spirits here. One is the spirit that would come out when, you know, someone living becomes not living, and another is,
and like the people that become non-living, they're called like Libetinians, and if they decide to not reincarnate and like reside in the After Dark permanently, they become like
Darman.
No, Darman are the ones who have always been a resident of the After Dark. They get another name, but I don't have a name yet for that.
We'll think of it later.
It's not relevant yet, so
that we've been like, this has existed for like 4 years. Things are still very new.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, we've been focusing on things that are relevant to like the story itself. So there's obviously gonna be aspects of it that like we're not going to have named because like it's not relevant to the story, and that's my biggest advice. If you're going to take only one thing from this entire video, when you're world building and you're world building for a story, you are free to world build to whatever degree you want to world build, right? But if it's for a story that you want to share, you should have things relevant to the world building in the story, like completely fleshed out, and then other details you can get to them as you progress. Like for example, all world building related to the main story is fleshed out, it's all figured out, but like world building, like for example, what do we call people that decide to reside permanently in Libitina? Like we don't have that because it's not relevant to the main story yet.
Back on heart hosting, so we have, you know, the spirits, the souls of the dead, and then we have just general non-corporeal beings,
which are referred to as like spirits in this case.
Yes.
That's what we would refer
And
to as a spirit in Hystera. But yeah, go on.
and what some mortals can fall in love with these non-corporeal beings, and these beings like can choose to literally live within the hearts of their lovers.
And that is called heart hosting, and you can tell someone is heart hosting a spirit because they'll get these spirits like animal traits. Like, for example, if they're heart hosting like a cat spirit thing, right? They'll get like the cat ears and tail. But important to note is that they'll be like made out of like fog, basically. They'll be like foggy, misty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is important.
However,
Mm-hmm.
like with when a heart host person has
children with their heart host, and that just think of Jesus and Mary. It just sort of happens.
Hard quote for the stream: hard host kids are fucking Jesus.
Like those traits that would just be like wisps of fog on heart host become physical on the kid.
Mm-hmm. And we actually have like several characters that are that, but we have several, not many, because overall, hard host children are very frail, and most of them don't survive long because you're kind of making a child out of like a single person, and that's gonna cause issues.
like, and not in the sciencey way, like in a way these kids are literally half flesh.
Yeah. So obviously that's gonna cause like a degree of issues. But then we have characters like Mouse and Birdie, they're twins, right? Mouse is like the head of, I think we mentioned Mouse earlier actually when I was talking about Sidus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. He's omniscient, right? He's a hard hosted kid. His entire thing's an entire other like thing. It might be touched upon in a game or something, or a novel or something, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. Also because like we're still checking on how relevant we want to make that aspect of the story because of the things it touches upon, right? But like it's kind of like, so he's like more what you would expect a hard host to be, like a hard host child to be, where like he's obviously an exception because he's lived this long, right? But he's still overall not that strong. He's pretty weak overall, right? So he's frail, basically, right? And then we have his fucking twin sister. Do you want to talk about Birdie, or do I talk about Birdie?
I will gladly take the honor. Birdie has something intrinsically wrong with her, and though the main reason she dodges the frailty coming from becoming a heart host kid is because of who she follows.
Which, let it be known, they are not pleased. They do not know why people like pray to them. They're not a god. We're talking about the doorman, aka the ruler of the Afterdark, and the doorman, and like basically the one that runs the Libitina, which is like a hotel for the dead, right? Dorman is so funny. I love Dorman. I'm gonna talk about Dorman later. But yeah, like most of it is because Birdie follows Dorman, and because Dorman's not a god, the powers you get from Dorman is probably the funniest ones, because they're like, well, if it relates to the Afterdark, you get a power. Like, I don't care, leave me alone, don't stop calling me Uncle Birdie. How the fuck did you get in here again? Go away. Get out of my office.
Yeah, and basically the reason she skips that Freddy is because the power she got was literal immortality.
Yeah, like immortality in the sense that like she's literally able to like sense spirits and like scoop them out, because an issue with hard hosting thing, right, is that a lot of those who are hard hosting are doing so non-willingly, like both from the side of the spirit and the person that is hosting them, because there's just a weird group around that is trying to like create like the perfect being with hard host kids. So they're doing weird shit, and Birdie has history, let's say, with that group. So she's like actively trying to like find the spirits and like put them, like get them out, and she kind of uses them to fight like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like imagine.
Yeah, like Pokemon.
What was the name of the anime that we like took as inspiration for this thing? What was the name?
Dark Gathering.
Yeah, so if you watch Dark Gathering and like the girly that sees the ghosts and stuff like that, how she traps the spirits in like the plushies, we kind of got inspired by that with Birdie. So she kind of just puts them in like plushes or whatever, right? And then just like throws them out at people and just like, go!
Sick 'em.
And it's just like, you're just imagine being like, oh yeah, you're so confident, you're gonna beat the shit out of this like girly that looks like a fucking stick, and it's she just throws a fucking plushie at you and you're like, what the fuck? And then you get mauled. I love Birdie. She's my favorite. It's crazy. We don't have a story with her because I don't know what we would do with her for a story. She's such a thing.
Such a thing is very accurate.
And like, let's see, so an aspect, right, of like the worshipping thing is that to denote that you're like following a specific like god, or I guess being, since you can pray to Dorman, you often like wear something related to them, right? And in Dorman's case, it's because of the whole Dorman thing. It's a lock, which is why I'm bringing this up specifically, because as you can see, while yes, the character's eyes should be skulls, they also kind of look like locks. So they're one of Dorman's insane followers. And they're my favorite funny follower of Dorman. This is a character that we have like written about before. I just never had a design for, and this is why I'm going with this one for the design. It's the one that literally like is kind of like wanted by everybody alive and basically dodges bullets by like throwing the bullets into the After Dark. Essentially, like he can open portals to the After Dark, except he uses it he uses that power by like opening tiny portals so that bullets go through and then end up on the other side of the portal, like back into like the overworld, and then just ricochet the bullet because he's insane. Other characters, for example, like if you're a follower of Sidus, with Sidus it's kind of like there's like two aspects to it, because his church is called like the Church of String, right? Something like that, right? There's so many characters, you have to correct me at any point if I fuck it up.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's his is the Church of String.
Yeah. So people that are like a follower of him but aren't, let's say, like dedicated, like they're not part of like the researchers, which is what we call those who are like fully dedicated to Sidus, right? They'll wear like a string bracelet. And like that's an aspect of the design that you can see like on Arian, because he has the string bracelet, right? And like it's pretty common to like basically like pray to the bracelet in that way.
Like you can kind of like, it's sort of like counting rosaries.
What other aspects can we sort of like, let's see. I mean, if we want to talk
Maybe we
like,
can,
no, go on.
maybe we can touch upon the realms that are outside the surface that we see and the Afterdark.
Oh,
The Eldritch dimension, the Fey realm, and Diadem.
um, I feel like I think we should talk about that like after we discuss maybe a little bit of like the house stuff, because
Right, politics.
I feel like that will lead to it. Well,
Yeah.
because that way we can also discuss about some of the like Yofflin and stuff like that, like the like full original species of Novistera. So the way the system works is money doesn't exist in Novistera. That's like the biggest thing. Money doesn't exist. Like it's a fully like free in that regard, right?
Like, well, money does exist. It's more of a formality than anything else.
Yeah, like there'll be a few places, and this is usually places that have existed. Okay, let me quickly like showcase the timeline, right? So, if we're talking about the timeline, right, is we have this part, right? With this part here that's Antigua Priorum, right? And then we have Priorum, and then we have Anteriorum, and that's where canon happens. That's where like the main story happens. Like Anchor of Silence and all other related stories to Anchor of Silence happen here, right? Antigua Priorum is started by the Drake War, the like civil Drake War. So this is between the Drakes, and like some Eldritch are involved and stuff like that, but mainly, and this is like when the gods start to appear, right? Antigua Priorum is short enough that some historians and some just general people will refer to it as like Priorum itself, as well as like the part of Priorum. And then we have the part that splits Antigua Priorum with Priorum, which is the Drake God War, right? Long as story, we might get into it later in the stream. So we got Priorum, and then we have the Divine War. This is like the gods' civil war, basically, right? And we have a couple small sections here, and then this is when, and then after like the siege area, the siege, what was it? What was it called?
The siege.
Siege?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the ship full of humans?
No, I'm talking about after the Divine War, before the house is made.
Singed era.
Singed era, that's the word. I can speak English. Actually, no, I can't. It's my second language. I'm allowed to make mistakes.
And it's called the Singed era because the divine powers of so many gods fighting with each other literally set the world on fire.
Yeah, it caused a lot of issues. But the Singed era is said to have ended when the house is established, and this is like the main political body, the like the government of this world, right? And in the house, right, we have the head of the house, which is Reve, and then we have like those that work in the house, the different departments and stuff like that of the house, right?
The name is pronounced Reeve, but he just refuses to pronounce it Reeve. So he's been calling this character Reve for the past couple years.
Listen, I named him without knowing that Reve was like a real name. So when in my brain I invented the name, I invented it with the pronunciation of Reve.
Okay, fair enough.
That is my reason. Okay. Because I didn't know it was a real name. I was just like, words, letters together. Ah, yes, let me go with this. But yeah, he's the head of the house, right? And then we have like the different departments. But because the house is called, the house, the way the districts in this world, because the world is basically like the country, right? It's like a bunch of like plates interconnected together, right? and like
Mhm.
certain plates, aka certain districts, are overseen by like specific gods, either because like it was claimed by that god, or because like majority of the people that live in that district worship that one specific god. Like for example, Sion, which is like the main district, this is where the house is located, they worship Sar, which is the king of the gods, right?
Mhm.
So you know, people in Sion, like if you live in Sion, you are expected to at the very least respect the like customs of Sar and his followers, right?
Mm.
But yeah, so we have that, and because the house is called the house, the districts that are ruled directly by the house are called under the roof. They're said to be under the roof. They're said to be roof districts, right? And then we have districts that are considered to be dangerous to be in, no matter the level of danger, right? Like some districts are like, we just have Amaryllis ruling this district, and you kind of need to be really fucking careful when it comes to Amaryllis. So, you know, and also ironically, it's kind of funny to say that his district is considered a garden because Amaryllis is the god of nature, and it's kind of funny if you think about it, right? And then we have, you know, the fucked up little place that literally has a dome covering it by Sidus, made of like a bajillion different like puzzles, so no one can enter it without like strict permission stuff, because it is the most dangerous place on Noah's Terra. And then we also have the plains, which is like if you go in there, you will probably die from poison gas. But basically, if you want to go into a garden, you have to have like the permission of the gardeners, which is like one of the groups that work in the house and stuff like that. They're like, you know, they keep control of the gardens basically. And like depending on how dangerous a garden is considered, either they have to be like an active participant in you going to that garden, or they just have to give you the green light. It depends. Like if you go into the plains, you need a gardener with you, either a full group or a specialized gardener of that region, right? And then we have those that are districts that are still joining the house, right? And those are called porch districts, like they're on the porch of the house, right? And then we have districts that are considered neighbors. And neighbor districts are basically those that like still work with the house to a degree, but they're considered to have their own like governing body, so to speak, right? And like those would be like, for example, the Yoflin district, because the Yoflin, like they've lived since Antigua Priorum. They're like one of the like first mortal species, because the original Yoflin were made from a fallen drake's blood, right?
Yeah.
And like now, like current Yoflins, they reproduce in a what you would consider more like normal reproduction aspects, right? They no longer like come from the blood of a drake and stuff, but like still. And because of that, they obviously have like long-standing traditions, they have long-standing government, they have, you know, established a lot before the house even existed, and they also have like their own pantheon of gods, or at least they did before shit hit the fan and stuff. And that's part of the reason why they're willing to work with the house, because Sar was originally a Yoflin god, but like he was adopted by Amaryllis when shit started to hit the fan with that pantheon, that's the word. And basically like Amaryllis like adopted I keep having to stop myself from saying his mortal name. Adopted Sar and his sister Nasotl and saved them. So that's the reason why the Yoflin are like so willing to work with the house. And also the house, like they have like a specialized like section to work with every neighbor district, basically people that are like from that district, or like from that district, and people that are like, you know, like they understand. They can actually be talked with, and they're not fucking weird as shit. I'm on my fucking beloved. You're such a freak. I love you so much.
Me when I fall in love with the dude that I fucking imprisoned.
But yeah, it's like we have the Yofflin and stuff like that. I have several characters that are Yofflin. I think the most prominent Yofflin is B. And I have posted about B more than once over on my game dev account, which is Alter Deliria on Blue Sky. And that's where I primarily talk about game dev stuff and Novus Terra stuff. And like I'm gonna be talking more about it in October because I'm participating in the OC-tober challenge. But yeah, it's like Yofflin are technically immortal, but it's like they're immortal by choice. Basically,
Yeah.
once they like come of age, they're like able to control their like aging, and you can only really tell how truly old a Yofflin is by how long their tail is. And that's why usually you'll see Yofflin just wrapping the tail around their waist like a how you
Belt.
say, like a belt, because it can get so long. There's that. There's the other guys. You want to talk about your other guys? The fluff
Which
balls.
other guy?
The fluff balls.
Yes, Kasi. We haven't decided a origin for the Kasi just yet, but they're basically little fluffy gremlins that can turn into very large Yeti-like creatures.
That is 3 times the size of their tail, and I need you guys to know that in the design that I have, like the original design of them, when I made the like gremlin size and I made the tail, I like copy pasted the tail like 3 times to make the big version to have the like accurate size.
Like, but do not be fooled. The smaller form is the more dangerous form.
Yeah.
Because basically everything from the big form is packed into that tail,
Yep.
And it hurts a lot.
Like they'll usually be the big form when they need to like work on stuff.
when they need to like haul around materials or like pick fruit from high trees.
Yeah. That's another thing. Vikasi are like herbivores, specifically like primarily like fruit and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Yofflin are primarily carnivores. Like they can eat fruit, but like it's like candy to them. Like eating an apple is like eating like an entire bag of like gummy worms.
Like their bodies are very, very, very sensitive to sugar.
Yeah. So we have that, right? Like those are 2 of the district. There's obviously others, like for example the werewolves. There's werewolves here. And they're actually a neighbor. It's one of those species that like people forget their neighbors because they've like so many of the werewolves packs have like integrated into the other districts, right?
But a good amount of them are still like nomadic packs.
Yeah, and like they still like have their own form of government and all that sort of stuff as well. Obviously, if like they're living in a roof district, then like they have to follow whatever laws the house has. But like, you know, if you want to deal with something pack-wise, you just go back to one of your districts and you deal it pack-wise because like, yeah, this bitch can't be tried with the regular law. This bitch did too much bad shit. We're fucking going the old way.
It's like prisons are abolished, executions don't really happen, but sometimes you just gotta go the old-fashioned way.
Sometimes a bitch just pisses you off so much with the shit they did that you're like, yeah, no, you gotta go.
Also, the werewolves in NT aren't the traditional kind of werewolves that
I'm gonna
they can
fucking lose my shit with this fucking line and the way it keeps stuttering. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
They can transform freely between one of three forms: fully wolf, person with wolf ears and tail, and big ol' strong standing wolf.
And obviously that they sometimes get confused as like a heart host being because of that.
It was like, nope, not a heart host, kid. Just a werewolf.
Or you could be Arbor and be both.
And also somehow break the rule of heart host kids being frail, because that is a buff motherfucker.
I feel like it's just the werewolf genes are strong as hell, man.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about the like the After Dark, the diadem, stuff like that?
Oh, alrighty, on to the other realms now. Starting with the other realm that was made shortly after the After Dark, which is Diadem. It was originally meant to be the quote-unquote heaven to the After Dark's quote-unquote hell, but no spirits really reside in Diadem.
Yep. Only the Diame reside in Diadem, which, to make it simple for understanding purposes, the Diame are like angels. To make it simple, they're not angels, obviously, but as a like reference point,
based off of them.
yeah, like as a reference point, you can say the same with like Dharma, thinking of them as
demons.
Yeah. Fun fact about Dharma, by the way, this is a fun saying because Dharma are monochromatic. Basically, if a Dharma is red, they are completely red. They can have different shades of red, but they are completely red.
And they sometimes like playing with that for their fashion.
Yep. Like, it's considered like bad, like not just unfashionable, but like bad to like dress yourself with the colors that you are. Like, if you're red and you wear red, it's kind of like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you sick?
Like you look like someone put a filter over you. Put on some blue.
Put on some fucking colors, motherfucker. Blink, bitch.
And on the flip side, Diame are multicolored because they literally look like living gems.
Yep. And we have a god that actually was originally a Diame. And we can get into him and the whole like godhood aspect of stuff later.
Godhood in this world is a phenomenon.
But yeah, Diame stuff. We'll get into the god stuff
Right.
later.
Like the Dia and Diadem also happens to be where the location of operations is for the gods, and the Diame are not very fond of that.
The Diame don't like the gods for no other reason that the godmother used to be a Diame.
Yeah.
So you know.
The godmother used to be a Diame, and she fucked around, found out, and decided to make gods.
Yep.
We love you, Eden. You're insane. And the Society of the Diame, when we talk about how Diame interact with each other and other living beings in this universe, you can tell that at least one of the people here has religious trauma. Because they have the, like, the high ego uppityness that one normally sees from someone that has the cross emoji in their bio.
Yeah.
It's real nasty.
It's funny though, because there's like one Diame that literally got with niece. I love you,
Yeah,
Pookie.
it's like-
You're my favorite.
Like sometimes they're chill.
And I mean, we have well, this is like late canon stuff, though. Technically speaking, when we're in canon, this doesn't happen during canon. This would happen like later canon. But we do have like the new ruler of the Diame is chill. I don't remember.
Because the old sucks, but like
The new one, I do know who you're talking about. Though. I also forgot his name. I'll try to look for it.
Yeah, it should be in the server. But yeah, like overall, the Diame aren't exactly like the greatest because they don't have to be. They don't really like. They don't give a shit. Like, there's no reason for them to care for people that like there's no relevance to them. Like, those people have no relevance to them.
like the gods have no relevance, the mortals have no relevance, the Dharma have no relevance.
Fuck the Dharma in particular. That's a
The
Diame.
Dharma in particular.
One particular Diame says, "I'm fucking trying."
It's a bit. It like they're a mess. Like, but because of their whole not really giving a shit about any other kneelings but their own, they don't really become a problem until later.
Yeah, and like their later problem isn't part of like what we would consider the main story, in the sense that like it's not dealt with by Arian and Daisy.
Yeah, and it's also super post-canon stuff.
Yeah, like it's like way late.
And on to the next realm, the Fey realm. Unlike the Afterdark and Diadem, the Fey realm is pretty much parallel with the surface.
Yep.
Like if you were to step into a portal to the Fey realm, you are like height-wise, you are in that exact same location.
It just looks different.
Just looks different. And the Fae mostly kept to themselves for a while until the godhood phenomenon happened.
And then they like kind of peeked out, they kind of interacted for a little bit, saw that everything was not good, and they like peeked the fuck back out and made it like impossible to enter the Fane realm without like strict permissions after some shit happened.
Like that some shit being the Drake God War.
Yep.
They were just like, y'all are crazy. Don't bother us. Goodbye. And they have a set of governments one would expect from like a medieval fantasy type thing.
Like typical Fae stuff you would imagine, honestly.
Like they got kingdoms. They got dukes and duchesses and marquises and whatnot.
The whole like the courts and stuff that you'd see in typical like Fae stuff. Except they're not like the courts of the seasons. The seasons are something completely different. We'll get into that eventually.
Yeah. The seasons work really weird when the planet is literally shattered.
Yep.
And the Fae are also kind of wary of gods. hence why like it's kind of impossible for one to come in, or so they thought.
And then they just kind of accidentally got their own god, and like he's chill. He's under constant observation, but like he's chill.
Yeah. Because the phenomenon of godhood touches anywhere that Eden's tree touches.
Mm-hmm. And that's
And her
basically
roots-
anything that is connected to the districts, to the plates of the districts.
And they don't know how, but her roots touch the Fey realm. So at some point, a fairy who is a god was born.
Yep. But that's
And they
like
were just like,
stuff
"What the
that's
hell?"
like relevant to other like story aspects and phases.
Yep. Hold on, I haven't checked chat in a hot minute. Okay.
No, there's no one chatting.
Let's see. And then the one that is the least developed is the Eldritch realm, but I like to think like, it's just a place that's constantly dark.
Yeah.
Like the After Dark, surprisingly enough, is lit up very well from the cities and whatnot. But this place, you need the lantern to see absolutely anything.
Who goes there?
Who goes there? And then you just might see a fella with a lot of tentacles.
Yeah. This guy's so funny because like relevant to the lore and stuff like that, he's basically like the embodiment of how the fuck did your parents even meet? I mean, no, it makes sense how your parents met because like, you know, the Drakes do now reside in the Eldritch realm, so like it makes sense. More a case of like, how the fuck did you end up here? I mean,
There's also the Valley of Beasts where like where like you'll see a lot of monsterish people.
mm-hmm.
For example, one character who is from the Valley of Beasts, but moved to Novus Terra. His name is Lewis, and his parents and his siblings all moved. He is a chimera. He has lion ears, goat horns, and a snake for a tail. And his sister is a Hydra, and he has two twin brothers. One of them is a Cerberus, and one of them is an Orthrus. And you can probably guess that their parents are based off of Echidna and his wife.
What the fuck is it not? Sorry, I'm.
It's okay.
I hate this fucking program. Sorry, feel free to continue while I lose my shit over why this isn't working now.
It's okay. I'm trying to think of something else to talk about. Like there's so much lore to go through, but like we don't want to just full on info dump when we have so many games to make.
Yeah. I feel like maybe we should talk about, because we were talking about like neighbor districts. I think we should talk about the Circeans. Because like that is relevant to Daisy.
Like the circus is basically like a very small district, but still a district, and a district that sort of moves.
Yep.
Like maybe it can be an airship.
I mean, it's a circus, so you know.
And like A goes there to solve a case because
That would
circus
be-
members have been disappearing.
Yep, that would be the first case in the timeline of games, which will come out after Encore of Silence. That's the plans
It'll
at
be
least.
sort of like a prequel. It'll be how Daisy and Arian first meet.
Yep. Arian accidentally adopting a child.
Against his will.
The child is like, you have no choice, you are signing the papers, I'm gonna make you sign them in your sleep. You are adopting me.
She's like, okay, I guess.
I don't know if I like the hair color actually.
Hmm.
Eh.
Let me take a look, see. I kind of like it.
But yeah, like basically, like the circus is considered its own sort of district, and that's because performance arts in Novus Terra are looked down upon.
And that's because like the creature that lords over performance arts is also kind of a shit.
No, it's more like he's, eccentric.
Like me when I trap people in a personal hell and make them act out insane shit.
God forbid. Oh my god, I'm like getting
God forbid a non-binary bitch have hobbies.
Yeah. But yeah, like basically, like the god of like quote unquote god of like what would be like the performance arts is like the same sort of thing as the godmother, which obviously is going to cause some level of problems because of that. And actually, the like main worshippers of that god is actually the werewolves.
Like the werewolves love performing arts.
Those bitches will be hooting and howling for the performing arts.
Well, hooting and howling.
Yeah.
It's
We can talk a bit about, yeah?
I was like, maybe we could touch on either the peaks or the grove.
I kind of want to stick to NT today.
Ooh, okay.
I was gonna say we could maybe discuss a little bit of the, more specifically when it comes to, like, Encore of Silence.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game itself,
So
like the premise and stuff
So-
like that.
What happens in Encore of Silence is, like, this is a while into A and Daisy doing their little shtick. And they get a call because an idol was threatened in a very gruesome manner.
Mm-hmm. As in, he opens the door to his cabinet and there is a hanging body, dripping blood with a ominous message written on the wall with what appears to be blood. Oh yeah, speaking of ominous messages and stuff like that, NT has its own language because I'm insane and I made its own fucking language. I can make that into a video later because I have an entire language. Like for example, let me think. If we want to talk about a god, like actually let me pull up my notes. 1 second. Let me just write like one of the gods' names, for example, very quickly. When we tell you guys that we have a bunch of shit with this world, we mean it. So, for example, if we want to talk about a deity, so the way the writing system works is that words are in a square shape, okay? They are in a square shape. So, if we're talking about a deity, you would add these two bottom lines to like the bottom area of the square, and then you would write the like word for the deity, so like what they lord over basically. So for example, if we want to do let's do Nieces, because that one's pretty simple to write. Like if we want to do Nieces, aka choice, it would be like this would be choice basically. Like this would be niece's name. Again, where?
Mm-hmm.
Like this would be niece's name basically. And that's an aspect of it. Like they have their own language. So obviously when you see the threatening message in Anchor of Silence, it's written in the Terran language. That's something I wanted to keep, because like obviously you're gonna learn what the word is when you play the game and stuff like that, but that was something I wanted to have as an aspect. Like I wanted it to be like it feeling more like you're getting the story translated to you basically, to a language that you can understand. But yeah, so this idol, his name is Pandora, sees that, and it's kind of a pretty bad thing, because his performance is in a couple days. It's a pretty big performance because again, Pandora is kind of one of the more like prevalent idols in NT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I know we said the performing sing stuff. Performing arts specifically, we mean like theater, not like music.
Yeah.
When we say performing arts, we mean specifically theater. But yeah, so that happens, and obviously that's kind of a pretty bad thing. And like Arian and Daisy have been kind of getting a pretty good reputation recently from like solving like difficult cases and stuff like that, and doing it quickly and discreetly and all that, right? So they get called to come help and like solve this. And that's the premise basically. Like the game is gonna have point and click aspects to it for when it comes to like the investigation of like evidence, like finding evidence and stuff like that. It'll have like multiple endings and all that. Yeah, that's like the main stuff, I would say, if you want to add anything more to it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, that's like the primary main stuff with it, I think. Do we want to get into more like specific aspects of things? Because I'm still not done like coloring this bitch, so that we can still talk more about.
Thanks. Like, will we ever make a game covering the Divine War itself?
I feel like because of everything like that goes on, I feel like it'll be more a case of like it gets mentioned in passing. It won't be like a thing that we like focus on in like a dedicated game, at least. Like I feel like it's something that like if you want to talk about the Divine War, we can.
Let's go for it. So the Divine War happens. It starts brewing because I'll just go ahead and say names. Hanoka, the sibling of both Sidus and Rezi. Oh my god, hi! After a good while of leading the gods and leading a bunch of factions of mortals, they realize that their lead among the gods is not very respected.
Yeah, especially because they like prioritize the mortals over the gods, to the points where like gods are getting harmed because of this. Looks at Odin. We're not discussing Odin's thing because YouTube will fucking strike me down.
One god I will discuss is Milo.
Baby boy.
Because the amount of followers a god has can straight up affect their health.
Yeah. Obviously there's like specific gods where this isn't relevant because they're gods of a concept that like isn't mortal related, like nature. So like Amaryllis having no followers doesn't fucking matter because he's nature incarnate. Like nature's going to be existing regardless of if people believe in it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But like if it's something that like a concept that like requires a mortal's belief, then yes, this like a mortal's god's followers do highly affect, like as you were saying, Milo.
Like what happened to Milo is he is the god of speech, as in like public speaking. His church activities included just giving like powerful sermons or just generally like speaking, like just public
Like
speech.
communication, basically.
Yeah. And he was a buddy of Panoka, and Panoka didn't like how Milo was rising in popularity, so went out with a spell and brainwashed every single one of Milo's followers to worship them.
Yep.
And this kills Milo in probably one of the worst ways a god can go out.
Because it's a slow and agonizing death because you're losing all of your followers. Oye, ¿puedes no estar molestando aquí?
Like, the feeling of dying like that is basically a mixture of suffocating, starving, and basically drowning.
Yeah, and to make it worse, like, they did die from a stab because they got so weak and they were able to be killed that way. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, he was put out of his misery.
Yeah. But it's debatable how, like, out of misery you want to say, though, because, like, you know. Oye, ¿quieres parar? My cat is deciding that she wants to be part of the stream. She just stole my fucking hair tie. Just stole my fucking hair tie. I just watched her get up with my fucking hair tie in her mouth. What the hell? But yes, feel free to continue while my cat robs me blind.
And this takes place before Panoka is leader, but it instills a fear within Panoka of dying that painfully.
Even though they're the fucking cause of it, because Panoka's... she's destroying my fucking hair tie.
Panoka, like, self-reflection and in looking on the inside are not something that Panoka did very much.
Oh yeah, speaking, we didn't say what Panoka is even the deity of. Panoka's the deity of creation.
Like, activities for Panoka include, like, creating physical art, like music, crafts, everything like that.
Murdering your best friend.
That not exactly.
Murdering your best friend. Turning an evil cursed book into a sentient being several times. And you know, also making like arts and crafts.
Making arts and crafts and and establishing a deigarchy.
Yeah. I fucking sorry, this motherfucker.
Like, Panoka does not have a genuine love for anything. when Panoka says that they want to prioritize the mortals, that is because the mortals are easy to control and and easy to lord over. The
Yep.
gods, not so much, and they didn't like that.
Yep.
So, with their influence, they rallied together a couple of ally gods that thought that they were thinking the same way as them, as in like wanting to protect the mortals.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, the one thing Pinocchio wanted was to be the sole god of Novus Terra.
Yep. And that's the dating war, basically.
Like a whole lot of like divine political shit happens in this war, and it's such a mess.
Yeah. I'm drawing and I have to look at my main monitor because the colors on my drawing tablet are so fucking washed out. But yeah, that's like the Divine War, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately for Pinocchio, like after losing several allies to both just them fucking dying and them realizing that they ain't really shit, and and also losing strength because their followers were also getting killed.
Yep.
Like not even the artifact they created out of the Drake's power could help them win the fight against Tsar. And that was their end.
Yep. And it's such a conflicting thing with
for some people, at least for most people, it's just like, well, that happened. Time to try to get my life back together. Everything's burning.
But like when it comes to like the gods themselves, it's definitely something that caused like pretty severe conflicts. And like while they're not to the same degree anymore, right? They're definitely like to a degree that like can still be felt by their followers.
And it also caused a lot of civil unrest within the pantheon itself, because not a lot of Pinocchio's supporters actually lost their lives.
And this was like the first time the gods really got hit with something severe. So it raised a lot of questions on like what is going to happen to us if like the followers continue worshipping Pinocchio. And I mean, that's kind of
a question that gets answered.
Yeah, that's something that does get answered.
It's a mess. The Singed Era is bad for the mortals. It's also really bad for the gods. Everyone's having their hackles raised around the other. No one knows when the other's gonna.
Oh my gosh, she's already
snap
completely
the other.
destroyed my fucking hair tie. Like she's completely ripped it to shreds. Just
No.
Yeah.
See, and then my cat was just peacefully chilling with me.
They're no longer switched. Their personalities are no longer switched.
Yeah, their souls are in the right places. For context, yesterday my cat just lost his entire mind and just kept running around the hall screaming his head off, which he doesn't usually do.
But nothing
was wrong with him.
Which is what my cat that just destroyed my hair tie typically does. So, you know, it was very confusing to hear the kitty that is not mine be the one yelling his little head off.
But he's back to normal. He's no longer yelling with his pom-poms.
Yeah. I feel like we've discussed everything we can discuss about Novus Terra without like risking spoilers right now, right?
Yeah.
So I think like since I'm almost done with the drawing, I think to like close things up, we can maybe.
The Big Dipper freckles, by the way.
What?
I love the Big Dipper freckles, by the way.
Yeah. I think something we can like finish up with discussion is just the like creation process things as like tips and advice for like if you want to make a world and like the characters in a world and stuff like that.
Like how do we verbalize our thought process for Novus Terra into an instructional thing? Because what we do is literally just fuck it, we ball, and somehow we ended up here.
Yeah, but I feel like, okay, I think my biggest advice that I'm gonna say to when it comes for world building, when it comes to characters and stuff like that, and this is as someone who has been creating worlds for a really long time and also has like experience like I've done creative writing classes, right?
Mhm.
Like I did creative writing in high school, I did a creative writing course for university for a summer, right? Like I went to a university for creative writing for a summer, right? And then just learning from people in the industry, people who have like professional builders and professional characters and stuff like that, right? And then stuff I've learned from being in my university degree when I did character design class, right? And stuff like that. When you're creating, and this is especially for like sci-fi and fantasy, like the way you go about it for contemporary is completely different because you're creating with stuff that like already exists. You're not like creating completely new things, right? So when it comes to a fantasy world or a sci-fi world, the biggest thing, right, that everyone talks about is suspension of disbelief, right? When someone goes into a new world, right, they're going to enter it with suspension of disbelief. They're going to be like, okay, this is a completely new world that isn't like the real world, right? Because it has magic, it has like space pirates, it has stuff like that, right? So you have to make the person's suspensions of disbelief be supported, basically. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to involve my channel in current drama, but like if you're in book talk, you know what I'm talking about. But basically the main thing is you want consistency. So yes, Novus Terra is like the embodiment of we can do whatever the fuck we want, but there's still aspects in Novus Terra that are like, this doesn't fit Novus Terra, which is why we made like the Grove and the Peaks, which are the other countries in this planet, right? Because we're like, okay, we still want this to be related to NT because it still has aspects of NT in the building for this, but it doesn't fit with what we have established, so we put it off into a different place, right? And that's like the main thing. Like what I mentioned earlier was like the characters is like, if a character is a descendant of drakes, they're gonna have feather wings or ears. Like they're gonna have wing ears. And that is consistent. You will not see a character with wing ears if they are not a descendant of the drakes. No matter what. Like, is there an exception to this? Yes, but it is a very clear different type of wing ear. Like you don't have a full-on wing, you have like a couple like feathers, and those are for like the phoenixes and the like other bird people. which aren't related to the drakes, right? So
Mhm.
that's a consistent thing. Other things, the entire like magic system. There's people that have inherent magic. There's people that like can transform because they're shapeshifters, because that's the species that they have. There's people that can control fire because that's part of their species thing. But that is inherent magic. When it comes to like the hard magic of like the gods and stuff like that, you're not gonna suddenly have a person that like worships multiple gods, is dedicated to multiple gods, and therefore has the blessings of multiple gods and their powers. That's not a thing. Because we have established that that is not a thing that can happen. And if we have a character that has that, we are completely fucking over all of our previous world building. If we say that you get the powers of the god you main worship, and if you worship multiple gods, you just get nothing or you get smited, that's that. No matter how darling a character is, they're not gonna get multiple powers. Like, they can have the power, like their inherent magic, and they can have the power of the god they worship.
Similar.
That may seem similar, but it has a very clear like limitation still in strength. Like a god's power, like it is a god's blessing. You are basically getting a part of the god in your being. You know, you're controlling an aspect of a god. Like that's a huge power thing compared to inherent magic. It's not as powerful. Like you can have, like, let's say we have a god that if you get their magic from that god, right, you get fire, right, and you face off against someone that has fire magic inherently. Your fire, due to it being gifted by a god, is going to be 50 billion times stronger than the inherent magic, and nothing is going to change that. Like, you can be better or worse at controlling it, but from a power stance, it's going to be stronger, right?
Strength of things can only do so much when someone knows how to use it better than you do.
Exactly. But you know, from like just a pure power stance, if it's gifted by a god, it's gonna be stronger. Now, if you don't know how to control it and you're facing off against someone that has a lot of practice, they will probably beat you, but that's just experience talking, not power talking, right? And that's kind of like the main points. It's just consistency. If you want to add something new to your world, you have to see how it can adapt to your world, if it can be adapted to your world, if you have to change something that you have already established in your world for this to fit in, or you have to change the thing that you want to fit in, or it just does not fit, right? And again, that's why we made the grove, that's why we made the peaks, because we wanted to explore other aspects that we wouldn't be able to explore with the Novus Terra system that we had already established. Let's see. When it comes to character stuff, again, it's just be consistent with what you have established with your world. Like, if you establish that people can be any fucking species you want, then they can be any fucking species you want. But if you establish that, like, hey, this species is really fucking rare in your story, like, you can make as many people of this species as you want. But when we're talking about story specifically, you can't have 50 billion people of this species that you claim is super rare just show up. When at least in a context that doesn't make sense. Like, if you're visiting where those people live, then obviously there's gonna be a lot of them. There's gonna be a lot of that species because they literally live there. But like, you're not gonna find them just walking around. It's gonna be a rarity. Like, for example, Yofflin. Yofflin primarily live in the Yofflin territories of their district, right? There are Yofflin that live under the roof, but they're rare. Like, you're not gonna see a Yofflin walking around. If you see a Yofflin walking around, it's a rarity, because they're not a species that is living under the roof, traditionally speaking. And that's like the main kind of stuff. And obviously there's like aspects of this in your world that you can break, but it has to break in a way that makes sense. Like, it has to feel like it's like a puzzle piece that just hasn't been slotted yet, you know? Like, And like once, and the important thing about what I'm saying about be consistent with your world building, with your characters and stuff like that, is that if you are consistent, you get so much leeway. You can literally introduce whatever the fuck you want without explaining shit for it, and because you have been so consistent in your world building, people will just connect the dots for you.
Yep.
Like if you're like, okay, I have been very consistent that characters are this and that, have this and that, these traits and stuff like that, like they're related to this and that. When you introduce a character that has those traits, people aren't going to be like, oh, what the fuck? They're gonna be like, oh, this character must be like, their parents must be like a Drake and an Eldritch being, like we have with this character. Because I have established that the wing ears are a Drake thing, and like the tentacles are like an Eldritch thing, and if you see a character with bows, then okay, the parents must be an Eldritch and a Drake, and it makes sense because we say that the Drakes reside in the same area as the Eldritch, so it makes sense for the Drakes and Eldritch to interact and possibly have children together. Like that's kind of like the main thing. You just have to be consistent, and if you say, no, this thing isn't possible, you can't just suddenly make it possible. Like
unless it's like a dramatic irony type thing.
Yeah. But again, I feel like that's kind of an aspect that like is seen, and like usually if you're doing a dramatic irony scene, I feel like it's something that you would explore in the text.
Yeah.
Like overall, what makes a character interesting is their personality and their dynamic with other characters. It's not that they have like 50 billion powers. It's not that they're like the most powerful being out there. Like you can have the most powerful being out there, they won't be interesting if you don't make them interesting for your readers or your viewers or whatever, right? Your players, whatever it is that you're doing this world for, right? Like we could make a game centered entirely on the gods, and it could be the most boring shit if we don't make the gods interesting by their personalities. Like, oh yeah, all these powerful ass beings, okay, why should I care? Like that's like, I feel like the most important aspect when it comes to world building, right? It's just the entire like thing of, if I'm making a character, if I'm making a world and stuff like that, what aspects of it are relevant? And I mean, not to be cliche, but a lot of this just falls back down to the entire concept of kill your darlings. Like, you just, like, sometimes you have a concept and it's cool and it doesn't fit, and you just have to kill it. Like, you can put it in a little folder. Like, this is what I do. I get bajillion ideas constantly. I put them in a little folder if they don't fit, and I look back to them later on and I'm like, oh, now they do fit, or oh, they don't fit in this story, but they fit in this other thing that I'm working on.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is just the thing that, like, with NT, Altair's lore itself is a big part of it. Like, Altair's iterations went through 50 billion things, you know? And I feel like those are, like, the main, like, biggest, like, important things when it comes to world building and character stuff, in my opinion. That's like, and like, have fun with it, obviously. And like, if you're making a world overseas that isn't gonna be something for people to interact with, like, I mean interact with in the sense of like, you're making a book, you're making a game, you're making a comic, something that's like more like public facing, you know? Like, those are things I would, like, I'm telling you as like something, if you're making it public facing, like we're doing with Novus Terra, right? If you're doing something that's like just for you, that you're maybe sharing it on your account as like for funsies, but it's not something that you like have plans of like sharing the story for or anything like that, like you're just having fun with it, then this doesn't apply. because you're
Mhm.
having fun, and if you're having fun and something doesn't make sense, it doesn't track with something you said previously, it doesn't matter because you're having fun with it. This is something for yourself. Even if you share it with people, at the end of the day, it's something for yourself. However, the moment you make it something for people to interact with actively, that's when you have to make sure you're consistent with what you do. And I think that's like a big thing, like we see with Novastera itself, right, Zephyr? Like, if we look back at like early draft stuff with Novastera, we were a lot more like buck wild with it. We were a lot more like this thing here and that thing here, like makes no fucking sense. And then when we came to the sort of like, what if we like turned this into like a comic or like, you know, like a story to share for people to like actually read actively.
That's when we started to get our shit together.
Yeah, that's when we started to establish things more like together, and because of that, Novastera's world building has gone through several drafts, and this is why, like, for example, Revet originally was the main villain.
Oh my god, original Revet.
Yeah, original Revet was the main villain, and now he's like at most maybe like a bit of an antagonist, like at most, if we really want to like be very like, yeah, like very nitpicky about it, you know? Like, it's like it's okay for your world to change, I think. Like, I think it's important for your world to change, honestly, as you grow up. Because you learn more, you get like smarter about the stuff you make and all that, and I think it's important to let your world grow with you instead of like being insistent of making the world like stay like the way it was always, because then you don't have fun with it at that point. I feel like you get so worried about like, oh, I don't want to change this world, like hey, then just make a new one then at that point, you know?
Like that's something I can agree with. Like this concept, this world as a whole has grown a lot with us.
Mm-hmm. Like for example, I can point at like OC worlds that I haven't touched in a while, and I still remember everything about, but like, because it's something that like was like purely for me and like a close friend or something like that, right? Like, it doesn't have to make sense. Like, it didn't have to like make sense and stuff like that. Like I had a sci-fi world that I don't currently remember the name I gave the universe. Like, it had a bunch of shit, and I mean, it was fine that I had a bunch of shit, because since we were making like an entire universe, we could just kind of be like, this is an entire planet that has this thing that completely breaks the system. But it's fine, it's a planet, so that's the loss on that planet, you know? So even then, when we were doing it for fun, like, we still kind of had like a backup, like, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I feel like, honestly, that's something you should do. Like, that's something like you should do in the sense of like, if you're making a world to be public facing, like, you should have certain elements that are basically your like scapegoats, so to speak. Like, if something doesn't make sense, like, there should be something you can point at to like excuse it not making sense.
Like, do not fear the ex machinas. Do not fear the Chekhov's guns.
I mean, you should never fear the Chekhov's gun, for the love of God. If you fear the Chekhov gun, I'm gonna be pissed at you. If you tell me that this thing is like, if the fucking gun is on the wall and it gets focused on and it doesn't get used in the next act, I'm gonna be pissed.
use the ex machinas. You use the Chekhov's guns. Like, at no point was it ever said that these were bad writing techniques. They were named for a reason.
I mean, Chekhov gun is literally like the best writing technique. Like, I feel like you might be mixing it with something else.
No, I'm meaning Chekhov's gun.
Okay. Maybe it's just because of my writing circles. Like, Chekhov's gun's like, I think Chekhov's.
I have seen some places where like they didn't like the Chekhov's gun.
Okay, okay, so you mean it more in the sense of like Chekhov's gun being kind of like misused?
Mm.
Is that what you mean?
I don't know. Like I don't think there's a way to misuse quote unquote a Chekhov's gun.
I've read stuff that has like something that's like a Chekhov's gun and that just gets misused. Not in the sense like it doesn't get used at all, but in the sense that like, why is this the Chekhov's gun then? You know?
Like I think I see what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's just kind of like at the end of the day, like if you're making something for yourself to have fun with, then do whatever the fuck you want to do. It doesn't matter. You want your Blorbo to have 50 billion powers, and then also the world is really stingent about only there being one power per person. Like, whatever, do it. Who gives a shit? It's for you.
Yeah.
But like, if you're doing public facing, then yeah, you should be more like, okay, I said like people can only have one power. I shouldn't give this person like 50 billion powers then. Because then like the readers are gonna be like, this is. Or I mean, if you don't want to go that route, you're gonna have to fucking explain the shit out of it. But there has to be.
Looking at you, solo leveling.
Solo leveling, Boku no Hero Academia.
I haven't even got ahead enough to know what the fuck All for One was about.
All for One was basically like his ability kind of let him like, I think it let him like basically like steal quirks or something like that and like give it to other people. So it like got, so like basically if someone had a quirk, he could just give that person like another quirk on top of that.
What the fuck?
I think that's like what the Nomus were or something. I never finished my Boku no Hero, honestly, so like I can't really. This is just like what I remember from how far I got in, because I got pretty far, but then I just stopped watching and I forgot where I was, and I never want, and I just was like, I don't want to deal with looking to where I was again. Like I give up. Whatever. I don't care enough.
Yeah, like, I'm out. Peace.
Like I got spoiled on Twitter. That's good enough for me. But yeah, I think that's like the main stuff. Like a lot of like advice on like world building and stuff like that. Like I feel it's very geared towards people who want to create something that's like public facing. Like they want to publish a comic, they want to publish a novel, a game, etc. And like you're supposed to have fun with your world building regardless of that, but you also need to remember that when you make something for other people, like, it's no longer yours.
Yeah.
And people are going to look at this thing and be like, this doesn't make sense. Or you said this thing and now it's no longer like it's nothing is abiding by this thing that you said. Like, why did you say this thing if it's not going to be followed? Like, what
basically like prepare your media for scrutiny.
And that's why I'm saying like you need to be. That's why I mentioned the consistency aspect, right? Like, if you are consistent, then when your media is scrutinized, it'll be so easy to just be like, oh no, yeah. I'm gonna be insane when I say this. You wanna know the best example of this? Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's is the best example of establishing something solidly as a base and then doing fuck all, and people will still find a way to justify why the fuck all thing makes sense.
But why does the mimic exist?
The mimic exists because it was made by Ed Murray, and he wanted to basically have the mimic be identical to his dead wife, and because of that, the mimic learned to mimic the dead wife, and then made like a really advanced AI that learned from who it was interacting with. Like then the mimic mimicked David when David died, right? And then it mimicked Ed Murray because of Ed Murray's actions and stuff like that, like the voice and everything. And then when it is inside specific animatronics, it mimics that animatronic.
Huh.
Girl, don't get me started on FNAF. I need to end stream soon. It's late. I should be ending stream soon. Don't get me started on FNAF. I could talk about world building with FNAF for fucking a billion years. I'm in the trenches, man. But yeah, like, honest to God, like, even with FNAF having all the issues that it might have if you really start to, like, dig under the cover, it still has, like, a good enough establishment of its world building that, like, it justifies itself, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, here you can look at, like, FNAF, it's not really complex. The stuff that we have as fact isn't really that complex, and yet still you are able to justify a lot of aspects of FNAF because of that. And, like, I feel like that's, like, the main thing. Like, your world building doesn't have to be complex to be interesting. Your world building doesn't have to be complex to be scrutinized. Like, you could have the most complex thing and, like, people will find flaws in it, because the more complex you make it, the more you have to keep track of many different aspects, and the moment you break one of those and you don't have, like, something to scapegoat that break, you're fucked.
Like the average viewer will catch that shit in a heartbeat.
Jenny to God, if the average viewer, like someone that is just watching your shit without further thought, is able to catch issues in the world building, that is a big issue. That is a failing on your part then. Because, like, if a casual consumer of your work is able to point at it and go, this doesn't make sense, that's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're a casual viewer, they're not someone dedicated to your world. They're probably not even thinking, they're probably on their phone watching your shit. And if they're still able to be like, hold on.
What?
Hold on.
Us at that freaking Pisces book.
The fucking what?
The Pisces book, you know the one?
No, it's Scorpio.
Oh,
It's the thing I mentioned with book talk. It's the thing I was like, if you know, you know. No further comments on that.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, again, I don't want to talk on the drama with this. I mean, it's a perfect example of what not to do.
and by God, do not hype your stuff past your means.
And also, like, you shouldn't be hyping your stuff up. This is getting into, like, more like public stuff, marketing stuff, less than like world building or something like that. But I mean, it's fine, we can talk about it since we are talking about Novus Terra, so world for our games. I feel like it's relevant, right? I mean, that's kind of the reason why we're doing this. We want to basically build confidence in the viewer that, hey, we know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. If you play our games, you read the books that we may write in the future, stuff like that, we have a world you can, like, latch onto and not feel betrayed by. That's the biggest thing. You don't want your viewer to feel betrayed by, like, dedicating themselves to your world building and then being like, wait, why the fuck does this, what? This doesn't make sense.
Or they, like, fuck up your favorite character.
I could go on a list. I have a list.
But we're here to show you that we're not gonna do that.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, like, it's basically a case of like, if you want people interested in your stuff, you have to talk about it, right? And like, for example, I mean, that's why demos exist with games. Like, that's why people make demos. It's so that people can see, like, not just for like feedback in the sense of like, hey, this breaks or this doesn't work and stuff like that. It's also for people to be like, oh, this story, like, it's not working for me. Like, I feel like these aspects aren't, like, the writing is dragging on too much, or hey, this, like, writing decisions don't make sense, right? It's
I hope
that.
they just did. I hope they didn't hear my dad just cough his lungs out.
Vaguely, but I don't know if it got picked up on OBS.
Okay.
It's fine. It's not that bad. But yeah, it's kind of like that sort of thing, right? That's like the last thing you want is for your viewer to feel betrayed, and the best way to avoid your viewer feeling betrayed is share your thing before you start asking your viewer to give you money. Like, demos are free for a reason. You know? Like,
give a sample.
yeah, exactly. And like,
Give a
I
little
feel
taste.
like in this day and age where like so many people are buying their stuff online without being able to like read even a snippet, it's now more than ever so important to like give people snippets of your work. Like, give the first chapter for free, give the first 3 chapters for free, because the first 3 chapters usually determine if someone's going to continue or not the book, you know? Like,
Silk Song was saved from this fate by actually being peak.
yeah, like, I feel like Silk Song's an exception though, because Silk Song's a sequel.
True.
And they like already established confidence with Hollow Knight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the thing. If it's like your like first time story in this world that you're doing, that's when you really want people. Like, that's when you are going to earn people's like confidence in you. If it's like the sequel, or like it's like the fucking 5th book in a series, or like the 5th game or whatever in a series, like, who gives a shit? Like, you don't have to show shit. Like, people are already invested. Case in point, like the Project Moon games, like getting people into Lobotomy Corporation is harder than getting them into like Library of Ruina or Limbus Company. I mean, Limbus Company is easy to sell because it's free, right? But still, like, story-wise, it's like, it's a lot of commitment to get into the story of Lobotomy Corporation, and therefore the world. It's a lot of commitment to get into these stories, but it's a lot easier to get into the sequels if you've already played Lobotomy Corporation or know the story of Lobotomy Corporation, because they've already gained your trust in the story.
That being said, the story is still gonna get even more insane because it's Project Moon.
Yeah, but, you know, it's a perfect example of shit is fucking insane, but it makes sense. It's the world building in Project Moon, in like the city and stuff like that. It's honestly really solid. And honestly, like, it's something I might want to do a study on. Like, I did a game study on Limbus Company last year. Well, last year, like academic last year. That I might translate at some point, like when I have time, and like make a video on. And I say at some point when I have time, because that fucking paper is like 40 pages long. And I had to be,
Like,
and I was being brief. I didn't talk about specific aspects of the game.
like, hey, talk about a game you like.
No, it's still so funny. Like, it was literally a case of like, hey, do a game. For those who don't know, game study is basically looking at the mechanics that make up a game, like the UI, the game, like aspects like the attack system, stuff like that. Like, that's a game study, right? Like the story in the game, the mechanics, the UI, all that sort of, like the music, if there's mods for the game, stuff like that. That's a game study, right? And the professor was like, yeah, so like, you're free to choose any game you want. It just has to be a game that you have experience in. Like, it's not a game that you have never touched in your life. Like, it has to be a game that you've played, like, enough to consider yourself like a pretty decent expert in the mechanics of the game. And I was like, I almost did Lobotomy Corporation. And then I decided I'm gonna love myself. But not that much, because then I chose Limbus Company.
Like, you would have been better off at most with the library arena.
No,
Or just not
just not choosing Project
any
Moon.
Project Moon.
It's so funny. I wanted to choose Cult of the Lamb originally, actually. And then I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so complicated to explain the like game mechanics. I should go for something simpler.
LMAO.
I mean, the mechanics are simpler. It's just the details of the mechanics are a lot more complex. Also, I just didn't consider myself an expert in Cult of the Lamb because there was still a lot of stuff I hadn't even seen or known about. So like, it would have been a lot of stuff that I would be missing in the
this
game
was
study.
like, this was early into your insanity.
Yeah, it was Cult of the Lamb. This was like, I think I hadn't even beaten the final boss. Like, I don't think I had even beaten the big bad. Like, I think I was still on like the last old god. I still had to defeat the last old god when I started on the paper for the game study, so that was like another thing. That was another aspect of stuff. But yeah, is there anything else you wanna like add for building? Like world
No,
buildings?
I think we're good.
Yeah. No more tips or advice you wanna give the people?
Throw pasta at a wall, make it look pretty later.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
Because this started out as like the most pasta throwing thing ever.
And like, honestly, like, again, the big aspect of that is just like, you know, you should, I don't know how to say, like, you should give yourself peace and love on planet Earth.
Yeah, like
all the things we mentioned about like prepare your media for scrutiny. Still give yourself some mercy.
Yeah.
Like remember, in the end, you are a human being, and like give yourself the leeway that you need.
And also, again, like, if you're making something just for yourself, like, who gives a shit about the world building you're doing? Who gives a shit? Like, if you want it to make sense to yourself and stuff like that, go ahead. But if you don't even give a shit about that, well, who gives a shit? Do whatever. Like, if you're doing something that's going to be, I don't know, like, the more money is involved, I think is the biggest time you need to be actually critical of content. Because you're fucking with people's livelihoods then. I think that's the biggest part. If you're dealing with money, that's when you really should care. Otherwise, like, if
Shrug-a-boji.
like if you're giving something out for free for people to like read or whatever, like, that's why I'm saying, like if you post something, right, that's like how would you say, like little comics, let's say, right, Like, for example, you have your OCs and you make little comics of your OCs and you post them on Blue Sky or Twitter or whatever, or Tumblr or whatever, right? And one OC comic is about one thing, and then you go to the next OC comic that has the same characters and it's completely different. It doesn't fucking make sense. They don't connect at all. Who gives a shit? People are reading that shit. The people are reading that shit for free. It doesn't fucking matter if someone complains. Block them. Who cares? They're not paying you money. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? Someone cares that badly, then they can go fuck off. Now, if they're giving you money, then you should care. Then you should actually be like, oh shit, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I should actually, be more careful about the world building I'm doing. Shit, my bad. Hi, bestie. Like, my bad, bestie. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end stuff.
Yep.
Thinky dokie. I don't know if I'll like cut this like final part, like I'll this final part where we're talking specifically about like world building advice and stuff like that. I might like make it into like a little mini video or something and upload this part specifically from the stream, maybe. We'll see. But yeah. The original plan was that I was gonna make this guy and then I was gonna draw like Daisy and Arian because they're the main characters of the games, and then we were gonna talk about Daisy and Arian and stuff like that, and then I decided I wanted to color this bitch. So that didn't happen. Motherfucker still does not have a name. This bitch has existed for like over a year and he still doesn't have a name.
Who?
This guy.
Oh, I mean, this is the first time he's getting a design, so.
Yeah, but it's funny though because we've literally like discussed that. Okay, he's a follower of Dorman. He does this and that. He does this and that. And then we're just like, what's his design? Oh. What's his name? Oh. Like his stand-in is just A. Because of reasons.
Yeah, like that. It's another thing. Like if you're making something with someone, that you're gonna have to check each other a lot, because like, we had to like fight tooth and nail to fix inconsistencies in NT that weren't caused like by any general writing errors, but because both of our memories are just so shit.
Mm-hmm. It's really funny though because we'll be like, oh yeah, I want to add this thing, and then the other one will be like, didn't we already add this? And I'm like, no, and it's like, hold on, scroll, bitch. And yes, we did.
I cannot count the amount of times I have done that.
Me and the entire you and the whole like, oh, let's make a god of emotions or whatever, and I'm like, that's not a fucking thing.
It was.
Yeah, and then we established as it not being a thing that works with the world.
Still, it was, and I had forgotten about that.
Or like the whole like making gods of like the elements, and I was like, no, that's what the elementals are for. Who aren't gods, and they're not even really elementals. Like, sure, they control an element where they're like the opposite of the couriers. Oh my god, we didn't even talk about the couriers. Jesus Christ. The couriers are the people that work directly under Dorman, and they're the ones who lead the souls of the dead into Libitina and all that sort of stuff. And then the elementals, who include Light, and Light is the brother of Dorman. Okay. Who are ruled over by this other bitch, who I currently don't fucking remember the name of him, but he's a bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. His like only thing is that he likes Amaryllis, and you know, if a bitch likes Amaryllis, I gotta respect him for that, because Amaryllis is not a likable guy. He's got a lot of issues. He's got a lot of problems. His decision to work with them is, I'm not gonna fucking look at it because it's not my fucking issue. Is it his issue? Yes, it is. Does he care? No. But the elementals are basically like, if the couriers lead the dead to Libitina, the elementals basically bring the reincarnated spirits or like new beings into like the living world. They bring them into the overworld so as to get their own, be reborn. Basically, that's the real
And
work.
the couriers do the opposite.
Yes, that's exactly what I just said.
Oh. Sorry, I zoned out.
I'm tired. I got back from the gym like the second stream started.
Oh, you got back from the gym like 30 minutes before stream started. I even made sure to put the stream like 30.
I was being hyperbolic.
Oh, hey, you're so mean to me. You're so mean. Oh my god, I feel like, okay, closing statement. Have fun. If your world doesn't involve people's money, do whatever the fuck you want. If it involves people's money, actually give a shit about what you're doing and make sure things make sense. And if you're creating something with someone, you document the shit of that. And also, most importantly, there is a reason why they say you shouldn't make stuff with people you care about. Because I think most of our arguments have been over Novastera, right?
Specifically over the games.
Yeah.
Because we're currently
trying to work on some things.
Yeah. Why did the fan turn on right now for you, man? What the hell? It's been quiet the entire time. It's like, okay, you guys are ending, right? Okay, I can start making noise. Oh shit, you're not done. Okay, hold on, let me quiet down again.
No, it is not gonna quiet down again.
But yeah, basically it's just like, if you're making a world with someone, like, I don't know, creating something with someone, that shit's gonna test the fuck out of your communication skills and if you actually work well together. And I think it's so funny. We started Novastera like early on in our relationship. We really fucking put our relationship through the fucking ringer, like from the get-go. We're like, okay, is this actually gonna last? Let's make a creative thing together.
I mean, the thing that really tested us is when we started to like really get into things, because like right now we're still struggling with our relationship with music, and then we agreed to make music, and it's like why did I agree to do this when I'm still hella burnt out on music?
Yeah, the music thing has definitely caused a lot of issues between us, but like, again, this just a sign of if your relationship is strong, and this relationship, I mean like friendship, romantic, etc, etc, etc. Like, a good sign is that you can have an argument over something specific, and then it stays as that specific thing. Like, we can have an argument over the music, and it's not like we're gonna be later like, oh, so you're doing this, like, how you can't fucking do the music thing. Like, no. Instead, you bring up how your partner got a fucking sports machine.
Oh my god. End the stream. We're not doing this right now.
Okay. Bye everybody. Thank you for coming. Leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. You've been on YouTube, you know how it works, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.